Welcome to Festpod, the unofficial download festival guide. I'm Neil Wilkinson. This is the place for news and rumours about the festival, advice for going, and where you can have your say too. So now let's welcome my fellow host. As always, we've got Lee Ellingham with us. Hello, Lee.
6 weeks. We've only got 6 weeks to go until download, and I cannot tell you how excited I am. Actually, yes, I can. So this bank holiday weekend, I will be putting up my tent, airing it out, and starting my shopping for download for this year. I am really, really excited.
Wow, it's that time, isn't it? We are so close now. We can almost taste it. I got a little whiff of grass cuttings the other day because it's springtime and people like to cut the grass, and it reminded me of being in those fields at Donington. And I have to say, there's no feeling like it. I mean, there really isn't. So we are excitable on today's show, and we are so close to download. We've got so much to talk about. There's a lot of news this time around. So find us on the socials by looking for Festpod or by going to festpod.co.uk. Say hi, ask our advice about download, or just chime in with whatever you want. You can also now find us on YouTube. Hello if you're watching on YouTube. So let's get started with some festival news. There is plenty of news, and there's quite a bit of download news for a change because we are so close to the festival. So we have some band announcements, don't we?
We do indeed. So let's start off with the bad news. Let's get that out of the way first. So unfortunately, the Distillers, Code Orange, and the Pretty Reckless have all had to pull out. I don't know any official reason why. There's a lot of rumour and talk. It's potentially to do with COVID vaccinations, but we'll take that with a pinch of salt. It could be absolutely anything.
Well, yeah, it can't all be. I mean, if it's the same reason for all those bands, that's bizarre, isn't it?
Well, I mean, yeah. Obviously, there's still a lot of American bands on the lineup. So it's actually, these bands are specifically American bands, and there are a lot of American bands still on the lineup. And you've got to imagine there's probably a couple of them in each band that don't agree with vaccinations still. I mean, yeah. I mean, and to just point the finger at it being that for these three bands, that's not quite fair. Anything could have happened. I do have it on fairly good record as well that the Distillers, I think the lead singer's name is nope. Do you know what? I don't know 100%. I'm not even going to attempt it.
Before you misname him.
Her.
Sorry.
There you go.
That's a misgendering. Go on.
Yeah. She's having some legal issues with an ex.
Oh, well, let's not talk about that then, because we don't want to get in the middle of all that.
Oh, no, definitely not. So, I mean, yeah, there are reasons for them not being able to play download. It's very unfortunate. However, the bookers at download, Andy Copping included, have pulled out the bag some brilliant replacements.
Oh, yes. Oh, I can't wait. Go on, tell us who's coming in instead.
Headlining the second stage on the Friday night is none other than Frank Carr and the Rattlesnakes.
Oh, yes. The download gods have smiled down on us and granted us Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes. We've been wishing for this for ages, haven't we?
We have. Do you remember when we found out? I actually voice messaged you saying, "This is not a joke. Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes are playing download," and you didn't believe me, or at least you questioned me to like, "Where did you see that?" I was thinking to myself, "What do you mean? Where did I see it? They've officially announced it. Where are you? What are you doing?"
Yeah, because it's such good news. They are so good. If you've never seen them, get yourself down to. Are they on the main stage?
They're on the second stage.
Okay.
They're headlining second stage against Kiss.
Oh my God, they're so good. Who else have we got?
Napalm Death. This is a fucking fantastic booking.
Yes.
Napalm Death are a massive name from the late 80s and the 90s. They are huge in the extreme metal scene. And they're playing on the Saturday night on the fourth stage. And I've said before, the bands that are already on the fourth stage that Saturday afternoon are going to bring the tent down. Adding Napalm Death to that list of bands, it is for sure. Like they best have decent insurance because it's going to be absolute carnage.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's one of your little phrases, isn't it?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, who else have we got?
Peng Shui or Peng Shui, however you want to pronounce it. I'm not 100% sure on that, but so hopefully I have pronounced it correctly.
So it's like the Eastern practice of feng shui.
That's it.
But with a P.
Oh, do you know what? That makes sense now you've said it. I'm sure Peng is slang in London for, like, do you know how like some people say, oh, they're well fit, that sort of thing. They're like, they're well Peng, yeah. Okay, now you said Peng Shui. That fucking makes so much sense to me now.
Okay.
I hope I've made that sort of connection properly.
I'm none the wiser. Does Peng? So Peng is a good thing.
Peng is a very good thing.
Right. Fine. Okay.
Yeah. So Peng Shui actually were the winners of the 2019 Battle for the Bands. You know how what was it bloody called? I've been speaking about it for the last 3 months.
The Deal.
The Deal. Thank you. So Peng Shui won The Deal back in 2019.
But they never got to perform.
No, they did.
Oh, they did?
They performed on the Avalanche stage on the Friday. They opened up the Avalanche stage on the Friday.
Oh, God, yes. I'm so confused. It's been so long since we've had a download festival. We did have one in 19, but we didn't have one in 20 or 21.
We did have one in 21, the pilot.
Okay, yes. Not a full one, though.
No. So Peng Shui are playing the Avalanche stage again, but they will be coming on after Press Club, and Press Club are opening up the stage.
Wow.
That's a really good announcement, I feel. Again, it's good to be able to rely on that Battle of the Bands winner, the Deal winner, to come back again a few years later.
What do you think of Peng Shui?
It's very, very sort of grime and drill based.
Drill based?
Yeah. Do you know drill music?
As in Black and Decker?
No. Not like Black and Decker.
Bosch?
No.
Sorry. No, I'm afraid I don't then. No.
Is that all your tool knowledge as well? Is that the amount of your tool knowledge, Black and Decker and Bosch?
Yeah, I can't think of any more brand names that are associated with drills. Sorry, go on. I've never heard of drill music before.
So drill music is associated with, or most commonly associated with, gangs in different cities. It's usually used as a sort of like a call out to other gangs around. Obviously around the city. Hopefully I have got that right and I've not caused any offence.
Sorry gangs, if you're listening.
Well, I mean, drill music, again, drill and grime especially is not really our thing. It's not really something we see a lot of at Download. But they've got sort of a very alternate grime sort of vibe about them. And they were very welcomed when they played in 2019. So hopefully they're gonna get a decent crowd again.
Okay. So I may drop in just to see what drill music is, and have my curiosity satisfied. I might like it. Who knows?
Yeah. Again, my description could be completely wrong as well. By the way, if I am wrong, you know what? If I am wrong, I want to know about it. I'm man enough to be able to take my complaints on the chin. Okay.
All right.
That wasn't an innuendo, but the way you reacted to that as if you took it wrong.
I know, I'm sorry. Because I'm gearing myself up, you see, for the innuendos for today's episode. Who else has been announced as replacements for the
You've got another band called Chris Barris Band. I've not listened to them properly. However, they are playing on where is my Clash Finder? Trusty Clash Finder, where are you? There it is. Okay, what is going on? I can't find them on this list at all. They definitely are. But there they are. They are going to be on the second stage. They're on the second stage, yeah. Again, I've not really listened to them, so I heard anything about them, so I can't give you a description about them at all.
I've started working my way through this list of bands. I've started doing research, and there's some bands I'm really excited to see. But I haven't come across Chris Barra's band yet.
Wait, was that an innuendo, or you've not? You've not.
Oh, fuck. No, no, they'll be better than that. They will be better than that. Don't worry about it.
Well, I've got to ask this question because it happens all the time. You and I might as well play fucking innuendo bingo when we meet up in Donington.
I know, it's true. Who else is on the lineup there?
The final band that were announced. Now, technically, we've known this for about a month. It's the deal winner from 2022, Animalia.
Yes.
I have listened to them. I'm very excited to see them. They deservedly won that. There was a lot of competition, a lot of good competition up against them, and they deservedly won it.
Good.
And they will be on they will be opening up the Avalanche stage on the Saturday. And to be fair, if this Clash Finder is anything to go by, I will be seeing them first thing 11 o'clock on Saturday.
Excellent. So there's a lot to look forward to there. Some good news. Now, we have had some more updates. There's been a dog blog, actually, hasn't there? With some more updates on. What was in that? So I'm going to sound very smug with this one because there was a couple of people that called me out on it and said that I was going to be wrong. The new map was announced, and I wasn't far off. Oh, yeah, because you'd guesstimated where everything would be, didn't you, on our socials? And so, it was based on what they had actually said.
It was based on the video that they posted in 2020 about the changes they were making. And yeah, I wasn't far wrong. The only things that I may have missed out was that the press and guest camping, the Ready to Rock, the camper vans, access camping are all now in the centre of the track, which I think is amazing, and I'm a little bit jealous.
They don't, from memory, they haven't really utilised the middle of the track very much in the last few years, have they?
I think this time around they've probably not really got much of a choice. Obviously, next to the village is quite a lot of like woodland, which you can't really put anybody in. Yeah. So the only other open space would be the track.
Oh my God, I was so excited to see it all. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
No, I am too. It's going to be awesome. I mean, this has been 3 years in the making. This is again because we've not had any full download since 2019. This is going to be awesome. Yeah. Not only is it an opportunity to see the live bands at Donington. I mean, everybody's going to be. I mean, imagine people that haven't seen their festival mates in 3 years.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's going to be carnage,
such a reunion.
Yeah. Now you are. I think it's fair to say, fairly obsessed with Bawdy Takeover, aren't you?
A little bit. But things. It's another one of those things that really sort of encourage unsigned bands to get involved in almost a battle for the bands to be able to make themselves seen and heard. But on that, yeah. So the Bawdy Takeover now has actually moved to the Wednesday night instead of the Thursday. And I've seen a lot of comments online who are quite disappointed with this. We can bitch, we can moan as much as we want.
Why is it a big deal that it's moved from Wednesday to?
So for me, it's the build up to the main event. Right. These are the opening acts to the Friday. It gets you all hyped. For me, it gets me hyped. It gets me warmed up, ready for the actual day. So to have it on the Wednesday night and for it to be replaced with other people's podcasts and DJ nights, it won't do anything. I'm going to say this now. It won't make a difference, but I imagine that it will feel a lot different. Yeah. To a lot of people, and I think that's why a lot of people are complaining. Oh, okay. But the Bawdy Takeover, it will still be amazing. It's still the same bands, and it's going to be epic. Just make sure you're there on the Wednesday and not the Thursday. Yeah.
And there is some entertainment, like you were saying, the DJs and other people's podcasts on stage. I don't think we've mentioned this on the podcast just yet, but there are. It's a sort of fresh look at entertainment, isn't it, on the preceding days?
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly. It is strange that they're going to attempt podcasts in the doghouse. Obviously, it's going to be quite. It's going to get quite noisy. And obviously, as we know from trying to record our own, any sort of background noise is quite. It interferes and it's a bit of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't got faith in this going well, to be honest, because it's very technical and it's. Putting a live band on is different to making and recording a program. You don't generally do it in front of a live audience of a couple of thousand people.
Yeah, so this is why it's going to be interesting for us as punters. So hopefully it's not going to be too difficult for those that are putting it on. These are two of the most popular podcasts within the alt rock metal sort of scene. I know from experience that the girls that do We Wear Black, they are incredibly popular. They get they've got a lot of followers. So it'd be interesting to see how that pans out. It's on the Friday as well. So I mean, I wonder what time that will actually all kick off. If it kicks off after all the bands are finished at 11 o'clock or midway through everyone being in the arena.
Yeah. So I guess it's a sort of suck it and see sort of situation, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Suck it and see.
There we are. It took you 10 minutes to realise and register what I said.
No, I knew what you said. I was just thinking, I think what's wrong with you? That was just, fuck's sake.
Okay, so there has been a poster put on Download socials about an event happening in Brighton, which is unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, so it turns out, so the Great Escape Festival, which is happening on the 11th to the 14th of May in Brighton, Download are hosting a stage on the 12th and the 13th. Yeah, this is kind of a strange one. It's unusual. I'm not sure it's ever happened before. If it has, I can't remember it. But they've announced some acts I suppose, advertise for Download. And the bands that have been announced are Tape Houston, Soft Cult, Banks Arcade, who are actually playing Download, Defects, Scene Queen, Fixation, Crash Face, and Witch Fever. If they are anything like Banks Arcade, that's going to be a decent little lineup. And
are these the headliners of the event, or are they?
No, these are the acts that are playing on the Download stage. Whether any of them it doesn't really specify whether any of them are headlining that particular stage. These are just acts that are on the stage that Download are hosting. So
is this another festival or what?
Yeah, the Great Escape Festival. It's a different festival. I was only interested in the Download aspect of it, and I've not really looked into the Great Escape Festival itself. Maybe we should. Maybe we should have a
so
look.
Basically there's another festival which Download are sponsoring a stage at.
Yep, in one. There you go. That's exactly it.
Right, fine.
Yeah.
So it's this other festival. It's on for 3 days and tickets are £90, which doesn't seem too bad actually.
No, again, I'd like us to try and advertise the festivals that are very value for money, and a 3-day festival at £90 is very good.
And it's called The Great Escape.
It is in Brighton.
In Brighton, which I guess that's still quite away from you, isn't it? It's quite a distance from you, so I guess you're not going to that.
No, Brighton for me. If I hadn't moved, it would have been a case of getting on the M25 and then dropping down. But now, obviously, I'm in Bicester, which is
you're further north, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm 40 minutes from High Wycombe, so I mean that's just a bit of an extra length to the journey.
That literally made me laugh. And so, if you're interested in the Great Escape Festival, that's between the 11th and the 14th of May. Tickets are going digital unless you booked through Frontgate.
Yeah, I only found this out today. Literally, I'd heard bits and pieces on social media about tickets going digital. Didn't read too much into it, thinking someone's heard a rumor and it's just spread like wildfire. But it turns out Download did confirm that if you've booked through Ticketmaster, your tickets will now be digital. But there is no. I suppose that's not an official statement. It's someone from Download's social media replying to somebody else.
I did spot that a few people on the Download groups have been getting refunds, small refunds for postage, but they didn't realise they were for postage, and they were going, has anybody else been getting refunds for £2.90 or whatever it was? So now this makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you have received a little bit of money back from Ticketmaster, one, you lucky duck, 'cause I bloody haven't. And two, yeah, fair play. Now your ticket will be digital, which is, in my opinion, the way forward. Stops us obviously printing off needless amounts of paper.
I still don't really understand why there are two booking agents. I mean, I know that Frontgate is owned by Ticketmaster or something, but I don't understand why it's been split.
I'm just as confused
Weird.
as you. I don't get it either. But I mean, I think there are other agents that deal with download tickets as well. I think
really?
C Tickets do download tickets as well.
Oh right.
But I'm not. Yeah, I don't understand why Ticketmaster itself is obviously split into almost like a sister company in Frontgate.
Yeah. Download are now offering a payment plan that starts from £33. So that's just a small chunk of the way into the full price of a download ticket, which is something like 270 quid.
Which is strange because we're only 6 weeks away from the festival.
I know.
How are they going to pan that out? Most people, I imagine,
Yeah.
the majority of people get paid monthly. So between now and the festival, £33 is a starting deposit. Where are they going to get the other like 250, 240 quid?
It can't be for this year. It can't be. That's madness.
I've not looked into it because obviously I had no need to. Like I've got my ticket. I've had my ticket for 2 fucking years. I'd seen a tweet about it, and then they posted about it today on their other socials. Yeah, it just really confused me.
Well, I mean, it's a bit late now, but I'd click on that if I saw that. I don't know where that is, just to find out what's going on there. But
I think you've got to essentially try and buy a ticket and then find out your option when you're about to pay.
So the 2nd of May is the loyalty scheme results day. So last time on Festpod, we were talking about the deadline for applying for your loyalty scheme money, your free money that you could spend at the bar or in the merch tent. And have you ever heard of anybody being turned down for this loyalty scheme, or do we all get through?
Yes. So there has been occasions where on the first go, because obviously they've got to sift through, they'll have to sift through so many applicants.
Yeah.
That some people may either get missed or some might get outright rejected. I'd hate to be that person.
I guess if they can't find your booking or something, if you've written it wrong in the form.
Yeah, you get one digit wrong in the order number, which can happen. Obviously,
I guess.
But yeah, I mean, luckily, if you are unsuccessful on the first time on the results day on the 2nd of May, your new deadline to apply will be the 15th of May. So don't be too disheartened if they turn around and say you're not going to get it. You will get the opportunity to be able to reapply before the 15th of May. So don't be too disheartened if it says no.
Yeah, I mean, if you're expecting £50 and you get an email to say, oh, sorry, no, you can't have that, then you're going to panic a little bit, I suppose, aren't you? So, yeah, you can reapply and you've got till the 15th of May. So we move on from download now a little bit to Bloodstock. Now, there's some bands that... there's a lot of band changes, isn't there, on different festivals?
Yeah, I imagine, again, it's either down to travel restrictions, potentially COVID, potentially other reasons. There could be 101 reasons to why some bands are pulling out and some bands are jumping into their place. But for Bloodstock, Static X, who were due to headline the Sophie Lancaster stage, have had to pull out, which is a shame because they were quite big in like the 90s and 2000s, the new metal scene.
You were looking forward to seeing them, weren't you?
I mean, if I was going, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I remember you mentioning them. That's all it was.
I was quite enthusiastic about them because again, I'm obviously the genre of music that I loved when I was a teenager was new metal, and obviously them being quite big in the new metal scene back then would have been a highlight. So it is a bit of a shame that they've had to pull out, along with Tala, which a band I've never heard of, but they were also mentioned they were forced to cancel. Luckily, though, Dark Tranquility, a band I've heard a lot about. I've heard a couple of their songs, and they are very good. So that is a decent replacement.
Yeah.
And another band that we have already mentioned once today, and this will not be the only time that we mention them. Defects have also jumped into to a slot at Bloodstock.
Now, are these replacement bands? Are they British bands?
Oh, why did you ask me that?
Because I'm trying to look for trends. I'm trying to figure out all these bands that are pulling out or whatever. Are they all American or are they all whatever? You know, I'm just. It just seems like a lot of bands, a lot of movements, and I'm just trying to find out why.
The one similarity to all the pullouts seem to be American bands. You wouldn't be wrong to assume the replacements will be British, but Dark Tranquility, as I've just found out, are Swedish.
Are they? Okay.
So,
you'll like them then. Yes, definitely. I can see them being up your street.
I mean, that's almost British. I mean, they probably speak better British than most British people.
They speak better British than most. You know, I can't argue with that.
Yep. And do you know what? I didn't even do that on purpose. And when you said it back to me, I realised I sound like a bellend. So.
And then you've got Defects as well, who are jumping in and taking their spot. So the Metal to the Masses finals is still going on, I think, as we record this, and the let's have a look here. The finals dates. Is it in Edinburgh?
The finals dates basically it spans all over the UK, and one finals in Norway, in Oslo. But it's starting on May the 1st in Edinburgh, and there's finals all over the country. The last date is the July the 10th in Birmingham. We did make a post about this. Let me just find it.
And this is the Battle of the Bands, isn't it?
Yeah. So Metal for the Masses is a huge battle for the bands, which again, like I said,
can you say Battle of the Bands?
Why? What did I say first?
Because every time you mention it, you go Battle for the Bands, and I always notice it, but I never mention it. I wondered whether you had difficulty saying it or something. Battle of the Bands.
Now you've made me really self-conscious because I never really noticed it before.
Go on, have a go.
Battle of the Bands.
Battle of the Bands. You can say it. It's just because I've never heard you say it like that before. That's all.
I never realised this a battle for the bands. I thought I was always saying.
Well, the thing is, it's easier to say, isn't it? Battle for the bands. It's like
I honestly thought I was saying fucking battle of the bands,
because it makes me think of like a film title, Battle for the Bands. Like you go in to fight for your favourite band or something like that.
I'd fight every day for Envisions.
I know you would. I know you love them, don't you?
Yeah.
They're not a Bloodstock though, are they?
No, they're not. I will I will touch on them. Okay, that's no innuendo. I didn't mean that. I will touch on them and their positions in summer. Honestly, I have a lot to say on this subject.
I bet you do.
We will get onto that in a minute.
And you kind of touched them, didn't you? But we'll get to that. Did you actually touch them?
Yes.
Did you?
Yes.
I love it. We're going to hear about this later.
Yes, we will. Right. So back to Metal to the Masses. Battle of the Bands.
Yes, exactly.
I got it there.
Yeah.
So basically, the finals and their dates have all been announced and their venues. Starts on May the 1st in Edinburgh, works away to Birmingham in July. It almost looks like every Friday and Saturday through May, June, and July, there is a final happening somewhere near you. It would be impossible not to be able to see one of these shows. And I urge anybody who wants to see some new bands to go to these finals and vote for your favourite band to be able to see them at Bloodstock.
Oh, absolutely. One band in particular to look out for is the Dead Retinas, who I have interviewed previously in a previous incarnation. Look, a great bunch of lads from Manchester. And I know that they've been partaking in Metal to the Masses, and they were performing quite recently. In fact, I think it was last night. And it looked like it went down a storm. So if you are going to Metal to the Masses, I hope you have a great time. I'm sure you'll see some great bands. It does look like a great night out, actually, even if these bands are not huge. It looks like the people are having a right old night. A right old night.
See, I think that I love, because of the last two shows that I've seen, obviously being in Visions in really small venues,
yeah,
I'm really starting to enjoy the small venue feel. One, it's value for money. You're going to enjoy yourself regardless. And it's just that intimacy where you're so close to the band, and it's not going to have the effects that, like, for example, Enter Shikari does in Alexandra Palace.
You're spot on, when you go to those smaller gigs and you're that close to the band, it's just a different atmosphere, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I'd recommend it to anybody. I'm slightly annoyed, actually. There's a band who I've been listening to lately, the 500. They've just been announced for playing the Phoenix in High Wycombe. It's a little dive of a bar.
Right.
But it was on my doorstep when I was living there.
Yeah.
And I'm really irritated that I've moved up to Bicester, where there's no fucking metal. There doesn't seem to be any metal scene or any live bars or anything like that.
Really?
So maybe I'm being a bit harsh. I've not given the full try to obviously try and look for these places. Obviously, I've done the odd Google search, but can't find anything at the minute.
Oh no.
But yeah, to see that the 500 are playing the Phoenix and High Wycombe in May, I believe. It was a little bit like a kick in the teeth. I've moved away from that hole, and that hole has some good bands in it.
And we all love a good hole. But you go into London. You go further than that, don't you, to see bands?
So, I was gonna argue it's easier to get to London than Wycombe, but it's not. Wycombe is on the way.
Oh, is it?
It's on the train line. It's on that exact train line to get into London. So if I really wanted to see the 500, I could.
Okay.
What I was getting at was, if I was still living in Wycombe, there would be a 100% chance of me going and seeing them.
Yeah, much easier for you, yeah.
Yeah. But obviously now being, I think it's almost like half an hour, 40 minutes away, even on the train, it's still a bit of a pain in the ass.
Oh, not really worth it. Okay. Oh well, at least you've got the option if you feel like one night you can be bothered. If there's a band that you really do want to see and you want to make the effort for, because that's the thing, isn't it? Do you want to make the effort for them? Because if you do, then you will, won't you? And if you don't want to make the effort, you won't, sort of thing.
It's not even that. I think what I was trying to say was that the fact it was on my doorstep.
Yeah.
And the fact that that place hasn't had in recent years, obviously pandemic aside, hasn't had in recent years any large scale bands or bigger bands that are going to be huge in that venue. I think the last band I recall that were there were Evil Scarecrow, and they took off. They're quite a big band now. You will see them at festivals over the summer.
Wow.
And I was quite shocked to see them there. Even the wife was like, "Fuck me, Evil Scarecrow." Didn't they play Bloodstock? It's like, yeah. Why are they coming to Wickham? How weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see bands doing well like that, isn't it? That you've seen in a small venue or a smaller place, and they've gone on to big things.
Absolutely,
it's nice to be part of that, because I guess you're part of their journey, aren't you?
Exactly, and I mean, this is why, with the likes of Envisions, I have incredibly high hopes, because I'm absolutely so. I'm actually going to go into it now. I was going to save this in about 2-3 minutes, but right. Envisions have been announced that they are supporting. There we go. There it is. Envisions have been announced that they're supporting Spirit Box on their European tour. They are also supporting Ice Nine Kills, who are also playing Download. Not only that, they also have Tiger Cub, as support for Spirit Box on their tour.
Wow.
I'm not being fucking funny. Envisions will be at Download. They have to be. What is the point of having those 3 other acts playing Download and not having Envisions part of that support to be actually on the main lineup?
Is there room for them on the lineup?
I think so. I mean, there are a couple of...
It's looking pretty full there by now, isn't it?
It is looking fairly full, but there are a couple of... So the main stage traditionally has 8 bands every day. And there is only 7 acts on the Friday and the Sunday.
Are they a main stage band, do you think?
I don't want to sound biased, but yes. No. No, I would say there's a couple of slots free on, I think, the second stage and the third stage, and they would go down, and I think they'd go down an absolute treat.
Sorry.
That wasn't meant to be an innuendo either, but I just heard it.
It's because I know how much you love them, that's all.
This is why I don't want to sound too biased, because I mean, like, for me, they would be on the main stage without a doubt. It's just too coincidental, and I've spoken to them, and they've been really vague with their responses.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see, won't we? I mean, who knows at this stage? We don't know what's going to happen. I think it would just be strange for them not to be at Download, because they're supporting Spirit Box again on the lineup. Yeah.
And the other support is Ice Nine Kills and Tiger Cub.
Yeah. Yeah, they're up in the mix, aren't they?
Exactly. And if there is a spare slot available, Envision should slide in my opinion.
See, if you're a fan of innuendos...
this is the show for you.
Anyway, so can we move on to 2,000 Trees?
We can, of course we can. So, 2,000 Trees. This may be old news to some people, because obviously we haven't done a podcast in about a month or so. So this may be old news. And I hope it's still of interest. But they have added some more bands to their lineup as well, including Yumi at 6, Boston Manor, Nova Twins, Twin Atlantic, just to name a few, because there was quite a few of them. But those 4 bands alone are absolutely massive.
Yeah.
And it just shows how big 2,000 Trees is becoming. And it's one of those festivals that we say it every time we record, Neil. It's one of those festivals that we both want to go to.
Yeah, it's getting bigger.
It is getting bigger. Also another 2,000 Trees. If you've got bar experience, why not actually apply to work their bars? This is along with Arctangent as well. Arctangent are asking for the same thing. Basically, in exchange for a free weekend camping ticket, early access, and free parking, all you've got to do is work 1 8-hour shift behind the bar.
I think that's worth it.
I do. I applied for that.
Did you?
And then, what year was it? I think it was 2018. I applied for that, and they called me back and said, "Yeah, would you want to come along?" And I was so enthusiastic, like, "Yes, I would." I can't because I'm going to Bloodstock.
Oh shit! Oh no!
but that it was amazing. Like to be asked.
Yeah.
And I mean that's such an amazing offer. 1 8-hour shift, and you get a free weekend ticket, early access, and free parking.
It's good, that, isn't it? Yeah. That's
If you've got bar experience and want to go to those festivals, Arctangent and 2000 Trees, apply. You'd be mad not to.
Yeah. I mean, with big names performing for the sake of 1 8-hour shift, and you get to see them for free. I mean, wow, that's. I guess you get paid for the 8-hour shift, or is that your payment? The ticket.
I believe your payment is your weekend ticket.
Right.
It'd be the same if you it would be the same if you did it at download as well. You would volunteer your time in exchange for a free ticket. But the volunteer scheme with download is a little bit different. You've got to do a few shifts. Whether this one in comparison is just 1 8-hour shift.
It's worth thinking about, isn't it? If you're into those bands or any of the acts that are on at Arctangent or 2000 Trees. Burn It Down Festival has had some more bands added, hasn't it?
Yep. So the Torquay Festival at the beginning of September have added Trash Boat, Tiger Cub, Vukovi, Our Hollow, Our Home, and a personal favourite of mine, Pupil Slicer.
It's a great name.
We love a metal name on this podcast. We really do. But to be honest, the entire lineup is looking incredible.
Yeah.
Again, for a 2-day festival, for the price that it's a fairly cheap price as well. You're getting some decent bands in there. Modern Era, who are playing download this year. The City is Ours, which played the Bawdy Takeover in 2019, who I missed, unfortunately, because I was stupid enough to get very, 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 very drunk.
You did, didn't you?
Lake Malice, who I've seen very recently as well, are playing Burn It Down, and I'd honestly recommend them. They were fucking brilliant. So yeah, check that out.
Yeah, we're getting to almost full lineups on a lot of festivals now, aren't we? Because we're coming up to festival season, and a lot of confirmations are being made, announcements are being made, and it's an exciting time, actually. If you're a regular festival goer, not even just to download, but to all these other smaller festivals, you're spoilt for choice, really. Alrighty, so Amplified Festival. I'm not sure if I've heard of Amplified Festival.
So Amplified Festival started off as an indoor 2-3-day festival, which again was all about the up-and-coming bands, the unsigned bands that the likes of Envision would have, and I think have played over the years. There was a bit of a struggle with Amplified Festivals just before the pandemic, and they were looking like they were going to have to call it a day.
Yeah, a lot of them were, weren't they?
Yeah, again, there was a few events not only had to call it a day for that year, but had to call it a day completely.
Yeah.
But Amplified Festival have come back in a different direction. They are doing 3 different nights of, again, festival type night with about, I believe, 7 or 8 bands during a day. And the headliners for the Manchester leg of their festival have just been announced in St Agnes. We saw St Agnes at the Pilot.
We did.
If you remember.
Yeah.
And they were fucking brilliant. So that, to me, is a brilliant booking. That's going to be at Rebellion in Manchester.
Oh, yes, Rebellion, yes.
Yes, I thought you'd know that.
I've never actually been in, but I'm familiar with it, yeah.
Advanced tickets are only £23.50. And it is, do you know what? It'd be best if I knew what the date was as well. That's the 31st of July.
Okay.
So St Agnes are headlining, and also Vexed will be supporting them. Vexed are an incredible metalcore band, which I would recommend anybody to go and see.
Wow.
They've also got on that leg of the tour Colosseums,
Yep.
who I have also seen recently.
Have you?
Brilliant. Yeah, they supported Invisions.
Did they? Right.
They were really good. Lake Malice as well. They were really, really, really good.
Wow.
Who else have we also got on this line? Defects.
Oh, yes.
Third time mentioning them on this podcast alone. Are part of the Manchester lineup for Amplified. Also, there is Seethin Akira, who are playing the Body Takeover at Download.
Wow. Do you know what? That's going to be a great festival, isn't it? Amplified.
It is. It's one, as it says on the title there, it's one festival, 2 cities over 3 days. The other two days will be in Camden, in the assembly rooms and Underworld. And the Camden Assembly Room have just announced their headliner as well in a band I mentioned earlier, the 500.
Yes.
So, yeah, 100% recommend checking that out as well. Which date is that on? Oh, God, see, I should have been more prepared.
Is it a bigger festival in Camden or in Manchester?
Well, the festival in Camden is over 2 days.
Yeah.
So I honestly couldn't tell you. I'm not sure of the venue size of Rebellion in comparison to Underworld and Assembly Rooms.
No, don't know.
So the Camden Assembly leg of the tour, you've got. Excuse me, 500 are not headlining. I thought I saw an announcement saying they were.
Oh,
excuse me.
okay.
Exim, Exim are headlining. And the 500 will be their special guests, so they'll be opening up for them. Again, recommend checking that out if you're in Camden on Friday the 29th of July.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it does sound like a good one. It's not really appeared on my radar before, but from what you've said, it sounds interesting. That.
Well, I mean, this festival itself used to be almost like a 2-3 day festival in one place, like an indoor festival, almost like a Radar Fest.
So no camping or anything like that.
No, but yeah, it's advanced tickets are a tenner.
That's really good, isn't it?
Yeah, I've not been to the Assembly, but I imagine if it's anything like Underworld and the Black Heart, the venues aren't going to be huge.
Yeah,
but I mean a tenner.
You can't go wrong, really, can you?
No, absolutely. This is what I'm saying about the smaller venues. They are the intimacy of them and the bands that are going to be playing are just insane.
And then you're home every night. You've got your own bed, proper food, proper shower. That's a festival for 10 quid. That's great. That's really good.
So I've just come across the Underworld leg of the festival. They have announced Esprit d'Air as their headliner. Never heard of them, but that's not always a bad thing. I don't know every metal band in the world. Tigress are a special guest.
You said that the Underworld leg. What do you mean by that?
The Underworld is another venue in Camden.
Oh, I'm with you. So there's a few venues in Camden. So Camden Assembly is one venue.
You've got. I talk about Camden as if you've obviously been like a million times.
Right,
Sorry,
okay.
Excuse me. No, Camden that's basically Metal Central.
Right,
to me,
okay.
In London.
Yeah.
You've got the Underworld, the Assemblies, you've got the Black Heart. There are so many venues around Camden itself that basically, that's pretty much metal land in London.
Okay.
As I mentioned, Tigress are special guests to Esprit d'Air. Tigress, I'm 100% certain, have played Download.
Okay.
So, fairly big band, would you say? I mean...
Well, yeah, if they've been at Download, they were doing all right.
Another band that are on that lineup that I believe follow me and I follow them, Raptors. Give them a look in because they are very, very good.
Cool. Nice.
So, yeah.
Lots of options there. Lots of bands that you can see in different places. Speaking of bands in different places, we have been to some gigs, haven't we? We have been out and about around the country going to see our favourite bands. Lee has been going to see Ian Visions, and I have been going to see Royal Blood, which I did mention once or twice in a couple of podcasts ago, that I went to go and see Royal Blood in Birmingham and in Manchester and in London at the O2. Very different gigs, actually, each one. For me, at least, but the actual band performing the same list. In fact, I think they varied the list of tracks that they played, not massively, but you're always interested to know why bands do that. Different venues play different tracks, but. Really great. Really enjoyed myself. I've never been to a gig in Birmingham before. But oh my God, the home of heavy metal did not disappoint. They were absolutely going mad. And I was right at the front with them all, and fell over quite a few times and had to be pulled up. But yeah, absolutely crazy.
Were you moshing?
I was at the front, yes. I was at the front with
you
everybody.
Got in the mosh pit?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. Well done. I expect to see this at Download now. You realise that, right?
Well, I won't be crowd surfing because they won't be able to lift me, will they?
I guarantee they will. I've seen people bigger than you, Neil, being crowd surfed. Honestly, you'll be fine.
So, yeah, and it's always exciting to see your favourite band that close up, even if I spent most of it on the floor. But then I went down to London to see them, to the O2. Again, never been to the O2 before. And it's quite intimidating as a place, actually, because it's a huge venue. It's not just an arena, but surrounding it is a lot of restaurants and other venues and bits and bobs going on, and so it's a little bit confusing. Yeah, huge. It is massive, and I actually stood at the back for that one. I thought I'd give myself a little bit of a rest and stand at the back, and had a little bit of a chat with one or two people about Download, actually, because I was wearing some Download merch, and people wanted to talk to me about Download, which was quite nice. But yeah, a great gig, and it makes a difference to see a gig from the back as opposed to the front. I actually got to appreciate some of the stage from the back. In fact, I wasn't at the back; I was by the mixer. So still had a great view, and a fantastic light show, actually. It's very heavy bass, rhythm sort of driven rock, which the crowd absolutely lapped up. And the lights really add something. You know the way you talk about Enter Shikari and their light show? I agree with you. It does make such a difference to have a massive light show. It really adds something to the whole experience. I really, really loved it. And the atmosphere was, in a big place like that, which actually was sold out, was intense. It was incredible. I bought myself a little bit of merch. As you know, I like a little bit of merch.
Love a bit of merch.
I do, yeah. I got a T-shirt with all the dates on the back, and I got myself a little sort of, it's like a sweatband for your wrist with Royal Blood written on it.
That would be called a wristband.
Yeah, well, yeah. And it was a great gig. So, unfortunately, after that, Mike Kerr, the lead singer, tested positive for COVID. This was about a month ago. So the next gig, which was to be in Manchester, was delayed. Not by long, though. I was quite disappointed when I heard it had been delayed, but it was only by a week or so, which is fine, and the place was still... it was still filled out by the time we got to Manchester. I actually tested positive for COVID as well, which is a funny thing. Back
you
at the same time, yeah.
Well, hang on, did you test positive after the gig?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Good.
I reckon it was. Well, it was in London. Whether it was at the gig or not that I contracted it, let's be honest, it probably was. And then. Obviously, it cleared up within a few days. So off to Manchester we go, which is convenient for me because that's where I live. And there's always something nice about seeing your favourite band in your hometown. There's just something special about it. And I was right up the front for that and had a great time. Managed to get some great photographs. I was actually looking to get some photos to blow up and put on my wall in frames. And I got a great collection of photos to do that. And they do a track called Honey Brains, which is their latest one. It's not on any albums yet. It's just been released as a single. And Mike Kerr, the guitarist, manages to blow us all away with his low bass note. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been right next to a bank of speakers with the lowest bass notes that you can imagine, and everybody, the entire crowd went whoa as the feeling of sound waves drifted over us with such an intensity that I don't think I've ever experienced before. It was incredible, and they did that in every show, and the reaction was exactly the same, to the point that I was expecting it after seeing it for the first time, and it was incredible. So as you can tell by my reaction and the way I'm talking about it, I absolutely loved it. And if you're even slightly interested in Royal Blood, go and see them. I've seen them 7 times now, and they're great every time. But you went to see In Visions, didn't you?
I did. It was absolutely incredible. I was first off, actually, as I came out of the train station. So obviously this is not relevant to the gig, but I found 2 different interactions with 2 different sets of people quite interesting. My first interaction was with a Christian group who was stood outside the train station giving out free hugs.
Oh,
I asked them what they were doing. So we're just giving out free hugs. It's like, so sorry, what's on the t-shirts? What's the organisation? It's the union, the church union university. I was like, oh, cool. So I gave a couple of them a hug. And obviously, no Christians. Said Happy Easter. Lovely interaction. I then get around the corner to the gig. I'm wearing a mask. I've just come off the tube wearing a mask. Don't need to wear a mask. COVID's not real. And I thought, oh God, leave me be. Totally ignored them and just went to the venue.
Yeah.
But it was just so weird to have those 2 sort of interactions. One was quite a friendly, lovely interaction, and just some donut who got offended by my mask.
London's a weird place, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah. So the gig itself. So once I got up, you've got to go upstairs to the main gig room hall place in the Black Hart. To which, to my right, was the merch stand, and to my delight, I saw none other than Ben and Lucas from the band selling their own merchandise.
Oh my God!
And I even said to them, "Boys, what's going on? Why are you selling your own merch?" And they loved it. They laughed. It was a nice little interaction. What can I get you, pal? I said, have you got any long sleeves? Lee loves a long sleeve tee. They had one. It was one of their brand new ones that I was really keen to get. So yeah, it didn't have any of the dates on the back like you would usually get at a gig, but still, to have that little interaction with them was fantastic.
I mean, yeah, if you literally bought merch from the band, that has got to be a bit more special anyway, hasn't it?
Big time. I've mentioned it on the podcast before when I saw Foxjaw last year in Walthamstow in London, where I went to buy some merchandise and didn't realise until the band came on that the lead guitarist from Foxjaw actually sold me the T-shirt. And I was just like, oh wow, I've actually picked this off of the guitarist. That's so cool.
Yeah.
But with this interaction with Envisions, I actually got to speak to them, and I knew who was selling me the merch. It was really, really cool. The first band that came on was Colosseums. And as I mentioned earlier that they were fucking fantastic. They came out to Usher, Yeah, by Usher, which sounds strange for a metalcore band, but it really, really worked. They stuck their own metalcore sort of drums and guitar sort of behind it, and it really worked. It got the crowd really excited and really amped up for the rest of their show. And that's when I met another member of the band. I ended up meeting Al, who stood right next to me whilst we were watching Colosseums. And I said, sorry, mate, sorry to be a dick. Can I get a picture? Yeah, mate, yeah, no problem. I was like, oh, God, I'm such a loser. But but he obliged. It was fantastic. It was another really good interaction with one of the band members. The Colosseums themselves, they got the crowd going from the off. They were awesome. Check them out if you haven't heard of them before. The next band that was supporting was Lake Malice, who are on the lineup for Burn It Down Festival. Again, from the minute go, I think a few more people in the crowd knew who they were, but from the minute go, they were insane, and the crowd were absolutely loving them from the first minute. Another band I recommend really check them out. Between those bands, actually, I wandered off to the loo. I've had a couple of pints, you need to pee. Walked into the loo, and out of nowhere, this girl has shrieked at me, "You're going into the wrong loo!" And I was under the impression it was unisex toilets. And I was like, I'm about to pull my thing out and start peeing. And I'm like, what? It's just, I'm only taking the piss. So this, all right, now there you are, they're unisex. So, okay, yeah.
Oh, God, that's not funny, is it? I don't like that.
I shit myself because, I mean, no, I don't want to be in a place that's going to make somebody else uncomfortable if all I'm trying to do is take a wee. And like,
You're
to pull
about to
that
get your dick out.
Exactly. She literally was pulling my chain, and it's the best pun to use, seeing as I was in the toilet. And after Lake Malice, the lads from Envisions have gone straight onto stage to start setting their stuff up, and I made myself look like a bit of a dick. Now, Lucas was the only one I hadn't had a picture with. I got a picture with Josh, got a picture with Ben, and with Al. Lucas was the only person I didn't have a picture with, and he was walking through the crowd to go to the loo, and as he came back out, I said, "Can I get a picture?" as he's about to go on fucking stage. And he said, "No, mate, I'm about to go on stage." I'm like, "No, sorry, yep, you go. And I was like, twiddling my thumbs thinking, what a bellend. I'm sorry.
Lee
my
getting
bad.
confident at this point, but asking for selfies
And
with the band.
this is why I don't do it, okay? Look, you get really confident about these things, and all of a sudden you get shut down. So it's just like, don't bother. But when Envisions came on, my God, it was incredible. They started off with 699, which is the first track from their brand new album. And the opening lyrics are, "You must have lost your fucking mind." And the whole place just erupted. I mean, I didn't have any intention to mosh because I felt at first, I'm getting too old for this crap. I can't be doing it all the time. Fuck that. I was right in there, and it was so much fun. After the first couple of songs, I found myself in the front row next to the stage. There's no barrier between the stage and the floor.
Wow.
The venue's too small for it. And I'm literally within licking distance. And I mean that seriously.
Wow.
I was within licking distance of Ben, who's the lead vocalist. And actually, at one point during the gig, he's grabbed hold of me to sing down the microphone, and I've shit myself because I don't know the lyrics. I just
That's the worst.
Luckily, it got to the part of the song where I did recognize it, and I just started screaming on the microphone. But there was a lad next to me who was literally, he was singing everything. This guy was insane. He was screaming, and in tune, mind you, screaming everything. And he was literally hugging Ben, screaming down the microphone with him, and it was an amazing thing to see. The track list was fantastic. Gold Blooded, which is not on any of their albums, it came out as like a bit of an EP during the pandemic. Again, 699 they opened up with, a Nihilist, Deadlock, Dope, all from the new album, were awesome. They played Parasite at the end, which I did know, which again, if he'd have passed the microphone then, I could have sung that one.
Do you know, I don't know how I feel about this, right, with lyrics and things. I guess that there are two kinds of people who know lyrics and people who know tunes, maybe. Because I was surrounded by people singing all the lyrics to all the tunes, but I was just getting into the tunes. I don't know the lyrics. I don't look through the CD booklet and memorize it all. But
No, I'm with you. I agree. There are, once you've heard a song enough times, I get quite familiar with it. But it would have to take me a while to be listening to the song. It's why when they played Parasite at the end, I knew some of those lyrics, and I was happy to, if he had offered me the microphone, I'd have sung with him. But it went one step further. I turned my back for 1 second, and there's 3 people from the crowd on the stage. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And then out of nowhere, geezer grabs me by the scruff of the neck and pulls me onto the stage. And by the end of the gig, there was about 15 to 20 people on stage with the band, me included. And again, it was incredible. I'm stood next to these lads, who I've just spoken to and bought merchandise off of, but I absolutely love their music, and I'm essentially headbanging with the band on stage. And that's what those small intimate gigs are all about. You get so close that you can interact with the band and have an amazing time. It was fantastic. It was probably the best gig I've been to in a long, long time.
Wow. It sounds incredible. It really sounds intense.
Intense is a good word because of obviously the veracity of his vocals towards his music. It is intense. And when they did the ending, really deep growling vocals of Dope, it was just to be able to see, because there are some bands, even some metal bands, Fozzy, who lip sync their music. But when I was there at Envisions, you could see and you could feel almost the breath coming off of him that he was doing these vocals. And this is an incredibly low, aggressive, growling vocal, which is really difficult. People seem to have this notion that screaming down a microphone is an easy thing to do. It is difficult to do it properly. And to be able to see it and to feel it was insane.
Wow. Did you meet the drummer again?
I did. I got a picture with him and Ben by the merch station. Oh, Josh. So the pictures that you can see on their socials when they have got people on the stage, I'm at the back of everybody because I'm closest to Josh. Why wouldn't I be?
Within licking distance.
Honestly, Ben was that close to the front of obviously where everyone was. You could have licked him. I didn't.
But did you consider it?
I controlled myself, and I had not. No. I didn't consider it because I'm not that way inclined to be licking random sweaty men.
No, but he's not a random sweaty man. You know who he is.
I will rephrase then. I'm not inclined to lick sweaty men.
Okay, but if he
in public.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Fair enough. I just want to give a shout out to the Amazons who were supporting Royal Blood at each of those gigs that I went to. They have gained a fan. I thought they were absolutely great. Yeah, really, really good. Great bunch of lads. And I'm sure you've heard them. I'm sure you're aware of them. Even if you can't name any of their tracks, I'm sure you will have heard.
Yeah, I recognise the names. You know what? I assumed the Amazons. I thought that'd be like a female band, like Wonder Woman, the Amazons.
Oh right,
but just that might have just been me. Obviously, you said they're a great bunch of lads, and I just thought Amazons. No.
Four blokes. So yeah, we had a great time. We, by the way, would love to hear if you've been to any gigs, your experience and what it's like to go and see your favourite band, wherever you've been to see them. Because even if you don't know the artist, it's really, I'm so interested to hear the experience of going to gigs, especially if you haven't been able to get to a gig for such a long time. I just find it really fascinating. I love the experience, and I think it's an experience that is valuable to share. So we would love to hear from you if you have anything to say on that subject. So if you'd like to get in touch with us, you can. All of our socials, you can just find us by typing for Festpod. And we come up, even if it's, I think Instagram, it's actually fest.pod on there. We are now on YouTube as well. So get looking for us. Festpod.co.uk is the website. So if you'd like to listen to any of the other episodes, of which there are several, you can do. So next, we are going to get some advice about going to download in the guide. In this section, we're going to try and answer your questions about what it's like to go to Download Festival, things that we recommend, and things to avoid. This time around, camping equipment. Not all of us are experienced campers, and the only time we'll go near a tent is at download. But even if you are familiar with tents, a handy list of essentials is definitely a help. I mean, even us regulars with tents do forget things, and it's rather embarrassing when you get there and you find, where's my mallets? I can't put my tent pegs in, and you have to go and borrow one from one of your neighbours or something like that. So, what do we need to take with us?
Well, I mean, for a whole week away, there is a big old list of things you should take. My number one thing, firstly, would be a wagon of some type or a trolley to be able to cart all your stuff from your car to the campsite. It makes life a hell of a lot easier. Yes, you need a backpack as well, but to carry all your non-essential camping equipment, your booze, etc., take a wagon. It will make life a little bit easier. Luckily, with the slight changes that going from car to camp isn't as far as it has been in the past, I'd still recommend getting a wagon. It will make things a hell of a lot easier.
Some people actually make their own wagon, don't they, to pull their equipment on? Or some people turn up with like one of those things that you might see in the back of a delivery van, to move things around with. People are quite inventive with it, aren't they?
The best thing I've seen, actually, your old you great. I say, well, so we have grey bins down here in the south, where in my area, the bin men come and collect every week.
Yeah.
Someone has actually emptied theirs out, washed it out, and put all the camping gear in that, and used that to drag your stuff into the campsite. I thought that was ingenious.
But I mean, I guess you would have had to. I mean, you can't fit a bin in your car, can you?
I don't think he came in a car. I think he came in like a big old like pickup sort of thing.
Yeah. Wow.
Because, that's a hefty old thing to be putting in the back of your car.
I mean, I don't fancy pulling that through the mud, though. Do you?
This person did not struggle. It was easy, but I mean, yeah. I suppose that's another thing with a wagon. Like you got to be careful. Obviously, weather-wise, if we are going to be tramping through mud, it can get stuck. And obviously, when it starts getting stuck and the wheels stop moving, that's when it starts to break. Yeah,
you see some people turn up with it's practically a tractor, as a little pulley wagon with massive chunky wheels on it, big massive tyres. And it's full to the brim. You have to get quite inventive with how you pack your wagon, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the trolleys that we've both got, we bought from Costco, didn't we? And that does the job well enough. But yeah, I've always taken some some bungee cables, bungee ropes to make sure everything stays in place.
Essential.
Yeah, be careful with the way you pack it as well. Heavy stuff at the bottom and give yourself a low center of gravity so it doesn't topple over. I have seen people pile those things high, take a curb wrong, and it goes falling everywhere. So, yeah.
Some people, what I've seen, which I think is a really good tip, is some people take a roll of, it's like clear... What do they call it?
Like the shrink wrap.
And they wrap it. The wrap, once it's packed, when you get it all out of the car, you pack your wagon, then they wrap it all so that if it does fall over, it's not going anywhere.
I've worked in places before where we used to pack stuff with it, and I've actually got a massive roll of it in my car. No, sorry, in my shed. But being an RIP, I won't need it this year.
No, not at all. No, exactly. You park up and you can literally just unpack and that's it. You don't even have to take everything out.
Nope.
Now, a tent is probably quite good camping equipment. Now, there are different kinds of tents. And, some people like a small tent, which I'm always fascinated by. How have you got enough room in there for a week with a single backpack and a tent for one? I'm fascinated by these people. How do you live? But some people go the opposite extreme, and
so I know why you're laughing. So the pilot if anybody's seen the YouTube videos or Neil's YouTube videos, or anyone has obviously listened to the podcast in the past, so when we turned up at the pilot, I had a 4-man tent for myself. Call me selfish, I don't care. It would have been comfortable, but no, I didn't have any room to be able to pitch the tent, so I had to go and buy myself a 2-man pop-up, which was crap.
There's no fucking way that was a 2-man tent. I tell you now. I don't know why they put 2 man on such a small tent. How big is this man? How big are these 2 men?
I'm not being funny. I'm 5'11", but probably just about touching 6 foot, and my feet were hanging out.
Yeah,
I had to use the tarp that I bought. I had to use that over the top of my tent so my feet stayed dry overnight. That tent was tiny, and to be advertised as a 2-man tent by whatever company made that tent is scandalous.
It's shocking, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. Even a 4-man tent. Really, that's a 1-man tent, isn't it?
I think so. I mean, for the way that I'm going to be pitching my tent, I've got myself a single airbed, and then enough stuff in the actual sort of sleeping area as a sort of space for all my stuff.
Yeah,
and then it's got its own sort of like living area for, obviously, if it is pissing with rain, we've got ourselves a little area where we can stay inside and stay dry. But yeah, I know the pop-up tents. If you want to, fine.
Do you know, I do not recommend it at all. Oh my God. My experience with pop-up tents has been awful. They've leaked. I mean, admittedly, these are cheap ones. They've been tiny. They've either been boiling hot or freezing cold.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, there's no thermostat in any tent ever to be able to control the temperature. Unfortunately, but a 2-layer tent, so 2-skin tent is definitely the way to go, because at least then you've got an extra layer that can try and protect you from elements. So that's tip number 1. Whatever tent you want to buy, make sure it is double skinned, because it will save you from any sort of rain, I suppose. On that note of rain, you'll probably find when looking at any sort of tent description, say, for example, 2000 HH. HH stands for your hydrostatic head, which basically means how waterproof the tent is. The higher the number, the more waterproof it's going to be. Basically, 2000 HH, I believe, is 2000 millimeters of rainfall that will not get into the tent. Anything above that, you're going to push it, and it's going to start leaking.
2,000 millimeters.
Millimeters, so height.
Oh,
yeah, it doesn't sound right to me either, but it is. It's the way it's millimeters. So if you were to basically put I don't know, a fucking measuring container out, and actually no, do you know what? I'm probably talking bollocks here.
Well, I don't really understand that. If it's 2,000, what's 2,000? It's 200 centimeters, which is what, 2 meters?
Yeah. Hold on just a second. Hydrostatic heads. You know what? It's fucking brilliant having the bloody internet.
Oh, the bloody internet! It's such a help. It's such a help for us all.
I was right. Millimeters. Okay, hydrostatic head is a way of measuring how waterproof a fabric is. The resulting measurement in millimeters relates to how high a column of water standing on the fabric would need to be before the water would penetrate the fabric.
Wow.
I was right.
So if
I'm a genius.
2 meters of rainfall, that's a proper piss down. That's 2016 sort of weather, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So if you'd had one of those in 2016, you would have been fine. Maybe, probably not. Okay, so that's worth remembering.
Yeah. So your hydrostatic head is basically how waterproof your tent is going to be.
Hydrostatic head playing on the 4th stage on the Friday. Sorry.
Insert laughter track.
Oh, fuck, I can't find it.
There you go. I'm your laughter track.
But the other thing about it is, if it's double-skinned, if you shove things in your tent to the edge of the actual skin of the tent, it will let water in.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it because in most tents, that second layer, that inside layer, isn't as waterproof as your outside layer. So if your outside layer is penetrated by some rain, I'm using the description from Google just then, using the word penetrated.
Yeah, all right.
If rain does get through that first layer, it will definitely get into the second.
Yes.
So when placing your stuff in your tent, make sure it's not too close to the wall. So essentially you won't get leaked on.
Yeah, but do expect to see a few spiders. Nothing we can do about that. Are we bothered about how heavy the tent is?
Well, I mean, yes and no.
I mean, you're going to have to carry it from the car to the campsite, aren't you? So
Yeah, so I mean, it's maybe something to consider. You don't want an extra burden of weight on your either on your back or actually in your hand, because again, the bigger the tent, it's going to be more of a carrying thing in your hand than being able to sling it in your backpack or on your wagon. So yeah, I mean, weight of the tent where it's all packed up. Just consider that if it's too heavy, it's going to be a ball ache to carry.
Here's something to consider. If you are going with a 4-man tent just for yourself, and let's say you're going on your own, you might struggle to put that up, because what you find is if it's a 4-man tent, it might take at least 2 people to put it up.
So my one, I actually have video evidence of that on my Instagram that that it can be done. Yes, it may fall over a few times and you may look silly, but it can be done. I've done it with the tent that I've got, and I'll probably end up doing it myself when we go this year.
You love putting down flooring in your tent, don't you?
I did put flooring down in the or I felt as if I had to in the pop-up tent. However, I took flooring down with the intention of it going into the big tent, just to make it a bit more comfy to walk around the tent. Because you're not going to sleep. You're not going to sleep with your shoes on.
Because you were expecting to have a tent the size of a living room, but in the end, it ended up being the size of a cupboard.
Yeah.
So it would have been nice if you'd had a full living room to walk around in. It's nice to have some flooring.
I actually used that flooring to sleep on, and it did not work. My hips were bruised after that Saturday night. On the Friday night, it was fine. I was too pissed to care. But on the Saturday, I was aching.
Oh, God. But what exactly was that flooring, if anybody wants to do that?
So you can get that, basically, in the amount of shops, I've seen it in so many shops at the minute. It's basically like almost like a foam puzzle that you basically put together, and it makes just like a little flooring area. Mine's all rainbow colours. No reason for it. It was just the first thing I saw, and it looked pretty. I picked it up. But you can get plenty of. It's almost like gym matting that you can link together. It will just make the flooring in your tent just that bit a bit more bearable, waking up and putting your feet on.
Is it expensive?
Can be. I always find something that's expensive is all down to the person that's buying it. Like, I mean, if it's expensive, then you shouldn't buy it. In all honesty,
what sort of range of price are we talking to buy some flooring for a tent?
If it's getting over 20 quid, don't bother. I reckon you're looking for something that's half decent, around a tenner for a good couple of square meters worth of flooring.
Well, that's not too bad, is it?
Yeah.
Now, you also like cupboards in your tent, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a sort of a fold-away storage unit where in the past I've put all my beer, toiletries and food and all that sort of thing.
Just organised.
Just to make the tent a bit more organised, a bit more tidy, instead of obviously walking and standing on everything and bursting crap. It just makes it for me. It just makes it feel a bit more. It's another comfort that's not a necessity, but I do it because it just makes me feel a bit better when I'm camping.
And we're not talking like sort of wooden IKEA style cupboards. We're talking foldable plastic ones, aren't we?
Yeah, so this particular one I got it from Decathlon, which I cannot recommend it anymore for camping gear. It's amazing quality. it's affordable, and I do believe they are currently doing their bank holiday sale on camping equipment. So check them out.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's basically like a fold away. It's almost a fold away sort of storage cupboard.
I was quite impressed when I saw it.
Yeah, it makes the inside of the tent just a bit more organised. So again, like I say, you're not standing on anything and making things burst.
Now, accessories such as pegs, guy ropes, they should hopefully be in your tent sort of bundle, along with a mallet. You'd be surprised how often I had to lend out my mallet at the pilot. It was quite a lot. A lot of people use my mallet.
Yeah, you almost didn't get that back, if I recall.
Yeah, exactly. It was very my mallet was very popular. You can get them from. To be honest, you can go in Tesco and pick up camping mallets or pegs or stuff. They're not, stuff like that's not difficult to find.
Tesco have got a decent range of camping gear at the minute as well. That's where we do our big shop, and I've noticed a few things dotted around as well. To be fair, another one, Audi have got tons of camping gear.
Oh God, Aldi, yes, of course.
Down there, mid-Lisle. The tent that I lent you, Neil, at the pilot, which you still have, is an Audi tent, and it has worked perfectly for me for the last couple of years that I've had it. I assume it was good enough for you too.
Yes. Do you want it back, by the way? Are you bothered?
No, not really. You can keep it. It's yours.
Oh, fine. Okay. No, so sleeping is something we hope to achieve when we're at download overnight. Now, it's not necessarily going to happen depending on where you're camped. If you're quite keen on sleep, as I am, a pair of earplugs are absolutely essential. They're very cheap. I'm not sure, because I used to. So I'm going to admit something now. I sort of used to take an extra pair of earplugs when I was working at gigs, and I've got quite a stash of earplugs that will probably last me for the rest of my life. So I'm all right for earplugs. In fact, if you need any, come and find me, and I'll probably have.
Do you want me to make you feel a little bit better?
Go on.
I have a huge stash of them as well. From the places that I've worked, I've managed to pick up some earplugs along the way. I highly recommend them as well. Obviously, it's very difficult to fall asleep with tons of noise around you. It does block out that noise. Also, take them into the arena. Save your hearing for later on in life. I've known older people that's obviously gigged as much as we do, and their hearing has suffered in their mid to late 50s. So,
definitely. Tinnitus is now a thing. Definitely, coming out of gigs, especially in quick succession. If you go into quite a few gigs in a shorter space of time, your ears are ringing for a lot longer as you get older. Definitely, so protects your hearing.
After Envisions, my ears are ringing for 3 days, and that's no exaggeration. And that's because I didn't wear earplugs.
Oh, didn't you? Oh, bloody hell!
No, I forgot mine, and I didn't bother thinking to ask the bar staff or anyone for a pair. Oh, well. And obviously being right at the front with all the speakers where it was lots of fun. Yeah, no, I had 3 days worth of that ringing noise in my ears. Was horrible.
Oh my God. I know it's not a very rock and roll thing to say, but look at Ozzy Osbourne. He is deaf as a post.
He has COVID now too.
Has he? Bloody hell.
Yeah.
If what they call eye masks. Now, you can get quite nice eye masks, actually. And the reason I say eye masks is because the sun in the morning beaming through your tent can wake you up at 5 o'clock in the morning. If it's not the airplanes, it's the sun or people shouting various catchphrases. I think it's worth thinking of. If you're a light sleeper, which I know a lot of people are, it's probably worth thinking about getting an eye mask as well, because obviously you don't want to be woken up first. If you're up late partying, you don't want to be woken up first thing by the sun. It's not pleasant because then you can't get back to sleep again, and then you're knackered for the rest of the day. So these are things that somebody my age might say. You know, it's look after your sleep. You get a good sleep. If you're younger, perhaps you don't give a toss, but it's so valuable. I love my sleep. It's so important, which is part of the reason why I'm going RIP this year.
Yeah, me going RIP this year with you probably could be the worst thing I do for considering when it comes to download, because I'm not going to want to camp in general camping ever again, and I have considered that if I can't afford RIP, doing quiet camp, but even then I think that might still be a bit much.
Yeah. So sleeping bags are important. I can't fit into a sleeping bag particularly well because I'm a larger gentleman. So I'm a duvet kind of guy.
Oh, I take a full single bedspread with me as well. I've got a sleeping bag and it's fantastic, and I can fit into mine. Just I
can fit in. It's not comfortable though.
No, I know, but I take like a full bed. I take a bed sheet with me. Again, duvet, blanket, couple of pillows. Gosh, you want to be after a full day of moshing and headbanging. You just want to lie down.
It's true, isn't it?
And just a nice lie down.
And in particular, if you have a nice, because this is the the direction I'm going in now. If you want comfort when you're in camp. You need an inflatable mattress from Fat Frank's. They're not even that expensive. They're like 10 or 15 quid, depending on what kind you get. And they even, I think if you've bought one previously, they can inflate it for you for a small fee or something like that, isn't it?
I find their advertisement for that quite disturbing and quite, it's flagrant false advertising. Simpsons reference. Basically, it's you'll find Fat Frank's just from the phrase "free blowjobs." It's not what you think. Don't get your hopes up.
Yeah.
It's not, again, like I said, it's false advertising. But they will blow your they will blow up your mattress for you.
Yeah. And honestly, it is one of the best things that you can get. You'll be so grateful for it. And then you can have, it's like a proper bed. You can get a double bed, you can get a double mattress and spread out, which is what I did. And it is, there's nothing like it. Especially if you've been to download before and you've had to sleep on a crappy thin, inch thick effort. And, there's no comparison really. There's no. I don't know how people manage it. I don't know how people can get a good night's sleep or any sleep on a thin, rolled up, crappy mattress. Yes, it's light. Yes, it's easy to transport. But can you sleep on it? Are you comfortable? No. So treat yourself and go to Fat Frank's and get yourself an airbed. And you can even get little pumps as well, can't you? Little electric pumps.
Yeah, I bring an electric pump with me every year just to literally plug it in and just let it go, just let it blow up my bed. My air mattress is quite a high one off the floor.
Oh God, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Another tip as well: if you're going for an air mattress, the higher you are off the floor, the warmer night's sleep you'll have, because obviously you're not close to the cold floor. Yeah. Which then, on another note, we talk about camping beds. They're great if they don't fold up and bend and break on you during the night, which happened to me in 2017. My first night on it was great, but then I think I got up, and when you first wake up, you sit on the edge of the bed, you give your eyes a rub and try and wake yourself up. No, the fucking the steel or whatever material it was just bent. Oh, and we ended up using it as a bench instead, didn't we?
See, I can't remember that. But I always...
2017, you were pissed the entire time I think we were in camp. It was quite remarkable, actually.
I enjoyed myself.
And as well, I've been rewatching the videos and seeing... I wonder if I can mention his name. Seeing Vince fall into the gazebo is just pure comedy gold. It was so funny. Bless his heart.
Yeah, go to Wilco Productions YouTube page to see my vlog for 2017. Yeah, it's worth a watch. My issue with camp beds is that it involves springs and it involves gaps, and I am so paranoid about any bits of random skin falling into springs or gaps, and the most horrible pain in the middle of the night. I'm not going down that road. I don't want that. I would rather have an inflatable bed myself.
Yeah, no, totally agree. The only positive thing I could say about a camping bed, if it doesn't break, is you've got extra storage space underneath the bed. That is the only positive, because some of them, the one that I had was very weak and it broke. Like you say, gaps for obviously your skin and your body parts falling through it and getting caught and hurting yourself.
Even the thought of it just makes me wince.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't even think camp beds are that comfortable.
It was all right.
It's not like an air mattress, though, is it?
A skin load of booze does help.
Yeah.
But no, nothing will beat an air mattress. And if you forget to bring one or you don't get one in time for the festival, Fat Franks will sort you out with one, and they are it's value for money. It's very well priced as well.
Great bunch of lads.
They are indeed.
So when you're not going watching bands and when you're not asleep, you're going to want to sit around and drink. So you'll want a chair. So bring a chair. Again, a lot of the stuff that we're mentioning here you can get from Fat Frank's. They are very well stocked. So a chair, a camping chair. I'm not sure where we are on this actually, but we usually bring a gazebo, don't we?
So personally this year, I don't think we'll need one.
You don't think?
We've got, so my tent, there's plenty of space in the tent that we can leave the door open and chill inside the tent or chill around it if it starts pissing with rain. So I don't think we'll need one. If you want to bring one, sweet, I'm all for it. I'm not going to say no. I don't think it's necessary for us in our situation.
Because I'm going to be in a camper van.
You are.
The thing to remember about gazebos is when it gets windy, they like to fly away on their own, and somebody else might enjoy it.
In 2016, I remember where we were camping in the corner of Blue Camp. We had one with the group that we were staying with, and I remember speaking to them on the last day. By the last day of the festival, it had flown away. So in 2017, we learnt our lesson, and we ended up taking half the gazebo down and having only enough space height-wise for sitting. Yeah. It was fun. It was cozy. It was really nice. But yeah, if you're going to take a gazebo, make sure you've planted it in the ground very deep and very, very fucking secure.
And I actually, one year in RIP, you were very good with telling people what year this happened or that happened. I can't fucking remember when these things happened. So there was one time when I was in RIP with my camper van and a gazebo, and day one, got the gazebo out, put it up, and it fucking broke. Day one. So that ended up in the bin. I think that, I don't fucking know when that was. But I think luckily it was a sunny year. So I didn't actually need it. The reason I'd even taken it was so I'd got somewhere dry, just a smallish patch of grass to take my shoes off and get sort of settled before going into the camper van. Because it was my entire reason for taking a camper van was as a reaction to the rain in 2016. I just thought to myself, there's no way I'm going through that again. So I got a camper van. Bit of an extreme reaction, maybe. But it's download after all, and these things happen. So I wanted a nice little sort of area to take my wellies off and, get wet clothes off outside. Because it's not a massive camper van. It's literally, it's a little van, little tiny van. And not a lot of room for standing or anything.
Sorry, the way you've explained that, having your own little space to be able to and take your boots off, stuff like that. Yeah, bring one. Was I don't want you stripping in my tent. That'd be strange. No. Yeah, bring one because then you've got that extra comfort.
Yeah. However, when we went to the pilot, there were people putting up gazebos, even though there was no room for us or anybody else to actually camp.
So I enjoy watching the videos, obviously, that you've made in the past, but on that, when we've arrived in the camp and you see people's gazebo, it makes me so angry because we would have had so much space to set up tents if people hadn't put their gazebos up as early as they did. I think some people probably thought like it's just going to be the same as regular download where there's going to be loads of space.
Yeah.
Hey ho, it's gone, it's happened.
I don't think we'll encounter that problem again because, I mean, who knows? We might do, but it was a very restricted space at the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope we don't encounter that problem again. Now, windbreak. Have we ever brought a windbreak with us?
We haven't, but I've seen it been done. People will set their small tent up and put a windbreak around the entrance of their tent just so they can stand up and put their keks on. So they're not flashing their bits and pieces to everybody.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then you've got yourself in a bigger space in RIP, you've got yourself almost like a little garden space where you can just sit down and chill out.
I like that.
Yeah, see? It's a good idea, definitely. No, we've never brought one. I don't think we've ever needed one, but I've seen it happen, and it is a good idea if you're happy to carry more stuff.
Probably a good idea to bring some lights with you as well. Again, you can get stuff like this from Tesco or from any supermarket, I suppose, that has a camping section. But there's some decent lanterns and lights out there that are quite cheap to bring with you. Now then, so once you're either asleep, which we've covered, you're either sitting, in your chair, having a chill and a drink. But what about when you're hungry? We've got quite a few items actually to get through here for dining. So we're going to have a quick rundown. Table. Now, did you bring a table with you at any point?
I had planned to for the pilot, but obviously we know what happened there and ended up going back to the car.
Oh.
I've got a table. I'm bringing my table to RIP this time. And I've taken it camping the bloodstock in that as well. So it's definitely a useful bit of kit. If you haven't got a cup holder on your chair, it's a nice place to obviously pop your pint. You play cards. Or if you eat your breakfast off it, play cards on it. Obviously, if you're just chilling out in your tent or in the campsite, it's a useful bit of kit.
Is it light?
Yeah, it is light. It's very light. I got mine at Decathlon, and it weighs fuck all. Again, it's not an essential part of your camping equipment, but for those sort of home comforts, I definitely recommend one.
Now, you don't have to make any food at your tent. You don't have to make any food at all. You don't have to bring anything with you even, because obviously you can buy stuff there. It will cost you more to buy stuff from those food vans. But if you are planning on making a cup of tea for yourself or heating up a can of beans or whatever, you'll need camping pots, pans, saucepans, obviously knives, forks, stuff like that, dining equipment. Now, you can't take in you can't take gas barbecues in or anything like that. It has to be those little, you can get this dry fuel. Is it called a Hexi stove?
It's called a Hexi, yeah. So most popular one I've seen is they're incredibly small and they fold out to be able to take two of those almost like small, I'm going to call them tablets. They take two small tablets and they literally just light them up, and they'll last for a good 5-10 minutes before they burn out. Used them at Bloodstock, and the wife and I had I think on day one we had bacon sarnies for breakfast. I think we had ourselves some makeshift mac and cheese as well. Obviously boiled some water up, etc. Again, It's not essential because you can get food there, but it will cost a lot more than to bring your own stuff and cook up your own food.
And the thing to remember, if you are bringing food with you, is that it's going to go off.
Yeah,
like
so make sure whatever you bring, you eat.
Yeah. It won't last long at all. I mean, even the first day, if it's a hot day, meat isn't going to last, is it?
No, and that's where, again, either a cool bag or a cool box does come into it. But these are other items that are going to be quite bulky and quite heavy. But, I mean, again, used them last year to transfer all our food. Obviously, I don't eat meat, so I didn't have that issue. But obviously, keeping stuff cool, like food and stuff like that, it's definitely worth bringing something like that if you are intending to maybe save a little bit of cash and eat at your tent instead of eating at the vendors.
In fact, you've got a massive, great big. It's like a fridge on. It's like a fabric fridge, isn't it? That you've filled full of beer and food and pasties and God knows what.
Yeah, man, that's I've had that since 2017. It was a fucking godsend. Absolutely love it. Got it from Costco, and it has lasted. It's brilliant. The reason I bought it is because it boasted that it could keep all your beer and stuff, and it could even keep frozen food for a good few days.
Yeah.
And I just thought, that's brilliant. All I can do, I can put my pasties and my pastries and sort of stuff in it, and they'll defrost by like day 3, and then I've got some snacks for the before going into the arena.
That's genius. So did you actually have to put ice in it, or those little?
No, so you obviously ice packs to make sure it does stay cold, but it holds the temperature quite well.
So if that's an option for you, it's like a little shopping trolley, isn't it? With wheels on it or something like that.
Yep, it can be Velcro to its. So it came with like a trolley or something like that, and yeah.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with that when I saw that. And it's a good idea to take water containers with you because, unless you want to traipse up to the tap every time you want some water, take one of those water dispensers with you can fold them down. I've got one that folds down, so that's worth doing. Also, flasks. Do you want to take a flask with you?
I am. I'm. When you say like a flask, like do you mean like obviously like the soup thermal flask, that sort of thing?
Well, yeah, like a vacuum flask or a
Then no. Maybe I misinterpreted what they meant by the flask. I just assumed like a little bottle of water or something like that.
Well, I guess it's for like hot water for making tea and coffee and whatever.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, obviously you can ask the vendors as well to fill it up with some hot water, and then obviously it keeps the water hot as you're taking it back to your tent, I suppose.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever gone up to one of the food vans and said, "Hey, could you fill that up with some hot water for me, please?"
I'm not paying 50p for some dickhead to fucking fill my cup up with water. No, I won't be doing that. I'll be using the water that comes free out the tap, and I'll be using my barbecue and my kettle to heat up my own water.
Yes, you dickheads. You can keep your hot water.
Charging me for hot water. Fuck off.
So metal water bottles. I'm not sure what's meant by that in this list.
Those are the bottles that keep your water cold for a long period of time.
Oh, yes, I've seen those. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
They keep vodka in them as well, don't they?
that RIP one that you got a few years back.
That I kept Jack Daniels in. Oh, yes, very
There
good.
you go. See,
same colour as tea.
Yep, see, it's not just a metal water bottle. It could be a metal Jack Daniels bottle.
Yeah, and now you are allowed those in, as it turns out, because it was a gift from RIP. And if you're struggling for... getting going on your camping. Perhaps you're new to camping, or perhaps you don't really want to get involved. You can turn up at Download, and there'll be a tent already set up for you, and that'll make things a lot easier. That's with Circular Camping.
Yeah, Circular Camping. It's new to the Download this year. Basically, they are upcycling tents and other camping equipment. So you'll have your tent, and it varies from a 2-person to a 4-person. They give you a chair, and I believe they give you a mattress as well to sleep on, and a sleeping bag.
See, that's really good, isn't it? I mean, that's all your problems solved, isn't it, really?
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, with it all being upcycled, which is technically second hand, it means that it's been recycled for you. So it's come from a place of, it's been cleaned up and made ready for you to be used again. Because tents really are crap at being able to either be recycled or put in the bin. They're not very good sustainability wise. So yeah, this is a great idea, to be fair. Obviously, we know that Download does its ready to rock option as well every year, but this, I believe, is just that it's a little bit more. I think it's a little bit more affordable, and the intent behind it as well to upcycle old stuff as well is a fantastic idea.
Yeah. So as well as the main tent, which is upcycled, you get an upcycled camping chair, like you say. So it's been used before, but it's it's still good. It's just been left behind somewhere, hasn't it? A self-inflating mat, again, upcycled. So that's good. But you do get a brand new sleeping bag, which I think is important. I mean,
yes, you don't want to be sleeping in somebody else's guff, I suppose. Yeah.
No, exactly. Someone else's farts. When you get there, you'll be shown to your clean tent, already pitched. See that takes away all the stress. For me, that takes away a lot of stress, is pitching the tent, getting all the stuff ready to camp. But it's already there with no fuss.
Yeah, and you'll be able to locate that in Green Camp, which is next to the Eco Camp and next to the Quiet Camp as well.
So when it comes to Monday morning and you're hanging out of yourself and you just want to go home, you don't have to bother taking a tent down, packing away all the the stuff that they've given you. I guess you'd want to take your sleeping bag with you, since you've paid for it and it's brand new. But yeah, you can just go then, can't you? And without having to worry about, because especially if it's been raining, I hate packing up a wet, muddy tent.
No, I agree. It was horrible. I'm so glad that actually the one good thing about the pilot was coming to pack up. It was just fold the tent away.
Yeah. So they've got a few options actually. They've got a one-person tent for hire, which is £95, two-person £195, three-person £295. There is also a storage tent there for £25. But when you look at how much you would spend on either buying a tent and equipment, or whatever, I just think it's so much less hassle to do this option. So that's an option for you there. Circularcamping.sumup.link is how I've found their website. I guess if you just search on Google for Circular Camping at Download, it would come up.
I believe as well it's in the dog blog on the main website as well under its own hyperlink, so it shouldn't be too hard to find on there as well.
So that's kind of it, isn't it, really? Unless you can think of anything else. But I think that's quite a comprehensive list of camping essentials. I mean, aside from things like toiletries and whatever, towel,
See, when I put this list together, I thought of literally just camping equipment, not like your toiletries that you'd pack for, again, I mean, that will come at a later date, like a packing guide or something like that, but I honestly only thought of just camping equipment.
Yeah. Stuff while you're at your tent.
See.
So you can tell us your do's and don'ts. Tell us about something that we've missed, or just give us your opinion. Just send us a message through the socials or at festpod.co.uk. Just click on message. You can also now find us on YouTube, so feel free to leave a comment down below. So next up, we're going to be finding out what is coming out of your mouth on social media. In this section, we've got some of your replies to our question online when we asked, what's your favourite food stall at Download Festival? Now, this is, I think this has probably got the most reaction out of any of the questions that we've ever asked on this show. We have had so much response, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. This was, honestly, I was actually quite surprised by the amount of responses we've had. So thank you very much for that. Clearly, food is a massive part of all our lives. I'm not surprised there's an obesity problem in this country.
Yes, and I'm adding to that with every mouthful. So we have a lot of, I mean, there's a huge number of people who actually are vegan and vegetarian who have listed some of their favourite places, but there are a lot more places to choose from now. That's become a thing, hasn't it? What's some of your favourites?
My favourite, but the top of the list of my favourite food, because food again is very important to me, is the Bunnyman's Bunny Chow, which essentially is a spicy beef. Well, it can be beef, like a chili, inside half a loaf of bread, topped off with either sour cream or hummus, and with a little bit of garlic bread. It's amazing. It's easy to handle, and it tastes fantastic. And that seems to be a very popular choice. I've just noticed a Mel Greenway. She said, without a doubt, Bunnyman's Bunny Chow, and even tagged them in it. And they let us know that they will be back to download. So that's really good news.
Oh, it'd be weird without seeing them there, wouldn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I'd have to say, I think that Bunnyman's Bunny Chow is the number one answer that we got. Yorkshire puddings, good value as well from Christy Ford. I agree. I like those Yorkshire puddings because it's not just a Yorkshire pudding. It's basically a Sunday dinner in a Yorkshire pudding, and it is gorgeous. I think that's probably my favourite.
I think I mentioned in one of your in one of the pilot videos, it's the apex, the king or queen of festival food. And honestly, I agree. I don't think they've got an option for me, but yeah, on a Sunday when you're sitting on the top of the hill and you're watching a band, it's perfect for a nice little meal. I said nice big meal, sorry, to keep you going for the rest of the day.
Jodie Lee says, I'm so sorry to all the wrong answers above. Those Yorkie puddings have changed our life. So another fan of those.
That's brilliant.
Now, I did mention there's a vegan wrap place. Jamie Gilchrist has said the Crumble Shack and the vegan wrap place, lol. Can't remember the name. Do you remember the name of that place?
No. I can't even remember the vegan Big Mac I had at the pilot.
Oh my God, that was incredible.
That was an insanely good burger, and I wasted half of it down my front and around my chin. But it was fucking fantastic.
You got it all down your front.
It was all down your front, as you said, yeah. There is a vegan place that we had, Bloodstock, that is coming back to download and was at the pilot, is the Meatless Farm. Meatless Farm you can find it in any supermarket now, and they've actually got themselves a stall at the festival, where they served, I think, burgers, hot dogs, kebabs, a portion of chips. Brilliant. I'd recommend Meatless Farm to anybody that is obviously not a meat eater.
There's a few people mentioning Easy Cheesy. Ryan John Athay has said Easy Cheesy, by far my favourite, as well as Jamie O'Neill. Easy Cheesy, in spite of the fact that I feel like a complete goblin after eating that cheese sauce.
Yeah, I've got a Jenna Kate saying Easy Cheesy, and I have to agree with the chap that mentioned he feels like a goblin after eating it, because the last time I had an Easy Cheesy a few years ago, so it can either hit you in two ways. It can either clog you up for the entire weekend and you feel like a goblin, as just said, or even if you've got the slightest lactose intolerance, it's going to be a very uncomfortable time in the Portaloos.
Yes, I can attest to that. Kaylee Payne has said the duck fat chips and nacho cheese dipped burgers. I actually remember those. Yeah.
I'm sure that was at Easy Cheesy, was it not? Or was that a different stall?
I'm not sure now, actually, but I do remember the nacho cheese dipped burgers and the duck fat chips, and thinking that was incredible. Yeah.
I like the idea of it because I watched them do it. Like they either take the hot dog or a burger, they dip it in that cheese sauce and that's your cheeseburger in the bun. And that was really interesting to see. If that's from Easy Cheesy, then cool. But I said it doesn't react very well.
Yeah. Rachel Harben says, any that sell decent cheeseburgers and donuts. I have to say, I have to mention this about donuts. I don't know what year it was, but I remember me and Dave Kingdon, who you will have heard on earlier podcasts, went to get some donuts, freshly made. There was a big queue of people in the village getting freshly made donuts. And they were so fresh that by the time we got to the front of the queue, they were so busy. And got these donuts. We wolfed them down, and I was up in the middle of the night with the shits. I think Dave was being sick in the middle of the night.
Most people say they had a dicky tummy. No, that's fine. You just say you had the shits.
Well, yeah, because I can. So that's the only thing, because I think the place was. I wouldn't name the vendor, but I guess they were so busy that they just weren't. They must have had the fryer on full, and just as soon as it's cooked on the outside, then serve them up. But that was that on one occasion. I'm not really one for that sort of thing. I don't really have the donuts because it lays heavy on your stomach, doesn't it? But Jason Brown says buffalo chili. Anthony Lewis says none. They're all too expensive. And they are too expensive. I agree with that.
I like that. That's tickled me.
Hannah Stamford says the noodle stand.
Oh yes. See that noodle stand is brilliant. Because it caters to the picky eater of the festivals.
The fussy eaters. Cowie Georgini says £3 noodles. Is there a £3 noodle stand?
I don't know. Maybe there's a £3 option of noodles. I don't know.
Pizza
with a noodle bar.
Jade Emily Louise says pizza pasta from Bath, best pizza in the world.
Did we not have that at the pilot? The pizza.
Pizza pasta from, I don't know really. I mean, there's a few places that do pizza, isn't there? But we did have a pizza and they didn't have any cheese.
No, they ran out of the vegan cheese. Obviously, vegan is very popular.
Yeah. Stuart Wilkinson says, for the future, Greg's. Now, am I wrong in thinking that there was a petition at one stage or some sort of movement?
There was, yeah. There's also a person that's been there the last couple of times. There's been a full download in full Greg's attire.
Really?
Greg's leggings. He's bought a Greg's suit with a Greg's tie. It's hilarious. But I don't understand how in the north, especially in Leeds, I remember because I used to live in Leeds, there was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 Greg's in Leeds city centre alone.
Oh, on one street, yeah.
It must be where I live. There isn't a Greg's, I don't think.
Really?
Or if there is, there's only one.
Wouldn't it be great to have one at download? I mean,
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I'd be there for having the vegan steak bake every day.
Lee Curtis says the Muller Rice bus saved my life a few times.
Muller Rice bus.
I don't remember that, to be honest.
Maybe that was something that was floating around the arena because sometimes they do things like that.
Oh God, yes, they do, don't they?
You only did half of Stuart Wilkinson's one. He said the hippie chippy. A portion of chips with fucking garlic rosemary or any other sort of herb and spices on it. I think they do barbecue chips as well. Just a bit of a pick-me-up in the form of chips with different flavourings. Fantastic. I would second that one.
Philip Martin Piscor says the rotisserie chicken stand. Only saw it there in 2016 though. I don't remember. I mean, to be honest, I've
seen that, and my first reaction was, poor chickens. But no, there is definitely a rotisserie chicken place. I think they were at Bloodstock as well, actually.
I wander around in a drunken haze, and so I don't really remember any of these.
That's your own bloody fault.
I know. Charlie Graham says, haven't been in a while, but it's good to see veggies and vegans have a bit of choice at Download. I mean, you can speak to that, really, can't you?
Damn right. I mean, so taking me out of the equation, it is a good thing that there are more options. Obviously, we are told almost daily that a vegan lifestyle is better for the environment, blah, 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 blah. So it is good to see that Download and other festivals are looking to cater for that, especially for those of us, again, that don't want to eat meat. It is really good to see.
Yeah, a lot of people are demanding that now, really, aren't they? It's a lifestyle that is catching on. But as a contrast to that, Michael Stark says, mine was a few years ago called Piggy Smalls. Best hot dogs ever.
I'm sorry, the name Piggy Smalls is just a brilliant, that's brilliant marketing.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, by far and away, though, the Bunnyman's Chow, whatever it's called, thing, that is the number one. They must do so well every year because everyone seems to love that.
I've got another one as well that I haven't seen been mentioned, is the paella place. That's my second staple at a festival food, is the paella. It's always next to Bunny Chow as well. That would be my recommendation to anybody, because you do get a nice hefty portion as well. Obviously, you have chicken, prawn, and there is a vegan veggie option as well. Dash of Tabasco sauce and lemon juice. Beautiful. Fresh coriander. Oh, your mouth's watering just thinking about it.
And we all like a hefty portion. So that's it for this episode. We'll be back soon. And until then, we will see you on the socials. Just look for Festpod, or go to festpod.co.uk for all of our previous episodes. We're also now on YouTube, so you can subscribe to us there. You won't actually see our faces, but you will see annotations. You'll see. So if you drift, if you have it on in the background and you drift off because you're doing something else, if you look back at the screen, you'll see what you're missing. Basically, I've written basically what we're talking about, so that you'll never be far away from jumping back in. So subscribe to us on YouTube. Just look for Festpod. And why don't you give us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening to us on? It does help new people find us, and it would be nice to get any reviews at all, because I don't think we've had any. I haven't seen any. But that's it. We will catch you next time. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye. A Wilco Productions podcast.
I was within licking distance.